All right, it is streaming now.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and welcome to this last inshallah episode and session of Khutbatul Muttaqin. As I said before, we are trying our best to cover as much of this khutbah as we can, and try to hit the main points that we had in this khutbah. We reached the part where Imam Ali is done with what they look like, these muttaqin look like at nighttime, and what they look like in the daytime, what their day looks like, what their night looks like. And out of all the things that we talked about in this regard, regarding the daytime, one thing that really stood out for me was that they are hulama, that they have hilm. I've been thinking about this personally myself for a while now. How can a person reach a point where they are halim, where they don't get angry very quickly over things? It is one thing to get angry and be patient and bottle it up, but at the same time, that is not the highest one can go, and not the highest goal one can achieve. There are higher goals such as this hilm, to reach a point where everything's in Allah's hands, and that Allah has the best in store for you. You're trying your best to be obedient with Him and to Him. And so anything else that's going to happen in your life is going to be to your favor, to your benefit. So to understand this really and believe in it brings hilm. Yeah. And so, yeah, it just seems like it's going to take a while for a person to reach that point of iman, that they don't get angry over things very quickly. There were other cool lines in yesterday's excerpt that we covered about how these individuals, when people look at them, they think like they're messed up, in their heads. They're mixed up and messed up, not messed up meaning they have bad thoughts, messed up meaning like it looks like they're dizzy. And Imam Ali said they are. And that which has mixed them up in their heads is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is a great thing, is a great matter. Yes. And so I gave you stories of how some people would exit the dars of certain urafa, and that's how they were. You could tell that this person just left that class, just left that session. This is what they look like, these muttaqin. When you are such, then everything that matters to you is the akhirah. Everything that matters to you is the satisfaction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, those parts of the khutbah, they take you very high and they give you a good feeling. But now Imam Ali, it seems, I would say, in this part of the khutbah, now he wants to actually tell us some of the practical things that these individuals do, and what they're all about, what their demeanor is, in detail, some of the details of how they are, and also how they deal with people and how they are throughout the day, practically speaking. The excerpt before was talking about how they are in the daytime, generally speaking. Now it's going to get into some specifics, very small things that we've all heard once again, but the reminder is there for us. So the Imam, he says, فَمِنْ عَلَامَةِ أَحَدِهِمْ أَنَّكَ تَرَى لَهُ قُوَّةً فِي دِينِ. That this is a sign of what they're all about. That when you look at them, you see strength in faith, in religion that they have. The question is, brothers and sisters, how does that strength come about? How does one nurture that strength, nurture that faith and aqidah and belief, and solidify it? It comes through education, I would say, brothers and sisters. In the end, those who are more aware of the book of God, those who are more aware of the history of Islam, for example, the Ahlul Bayt, will appreciate these things more. And as a result, will give it more value, to the point that it is of the utmost importance to them. Their faith will become stronger as a result of that. Now, is that enough to have knowledge? No, to have knowledge is not enough. And one has to practice and act upon their knowledge for that aqidah to really set in and settle on their hearts. So we have to understand that part. Lots of times you'll find people are running around trying to learn more about God and philosophy. They already believe in God, but they're after that special philosophy that when they learn that, they're good to go. They're guaranteed that their faith will never falter. That's not the case either. It's you have to have a base understanding of your faith, and you have to act upon it. You have to practice your faith properly. The wajib and haram that we were speaking about in previous sessions is exactly that. It solidifies your faith. Through practice, you solidify your faith. And so we have to understand that quwwatan fi din, that this person has a strength and is solid in its faith, in their faith, is a result of education and knowledge first and foremost, and then followed by practicing that knowledge that we have, putting it to practice and acting upon it. You cannot have solid iman if you have the right beliefs intellectually and theoretically, but you're not practicing your faith. We have hadiths for these things, that proper ilm isn't even what's in the books. It's a person who has knowledge but doesn't act upon their knowledge is not an alim, really. Wow. We always thought if you have knowledge, you're an alim. But in the Islamic culture, person who has ilm but doesn't practice it, not necessarily you can call them an alim. This is very interesting, and it goes against all the secular perspectives that we have out there today, and something to keep in mind. In a secular setting, if you don't practice what you preach, you still have knowledge of that. In Islam, when you look at these hadiths, the emphasis they put on practicing what you know, and going a step further than just emphasizing, but rather making this point that if you don't practice it, it's as if you don't even have that knowledge. It's very interesting. So I would say these are at odds a little bit, the secular culture versus the Islamic culture in this regard. All right. So he says, قُوَّةً فِي دِينٍ وَحَزْمًا فِي لِينٍ. Okay, people who are solid in their faith, they're not going to be very lenient and flexible when it comes to the deen. They're going to be pretty strong and strict when it comes to the deen. Yes, that's what it means. To be firm in your religion means that you are not very flexible when it comes to the red lines of God. But the Imam makes a super important point here, I want to say, by saying that, look, they have hazm as a result of their strength, of their firm faith. They have hazm, and they're strict and firm. I don't want to use the word rigid because it has negative connotations, but like that's how they are. They will not compromise. But filin, this is the part that we need to make sure we are living up to in our centers and communities. The Imam says they are firm but also soft. Lean means softness. So they have strictness in softness. Now it might sound like an oxymoron, but it's not. Here it's not. What is he trying to say? I think personally it's not a contradiction. It's not an oxymoron. Why? Because when the Imam says hazm, that means in practice they are strict when it comes to their faith. But when it comes to being firm and rigid in their faith, but at the same time dealing with others, yes, they're going to be soft with others. Does that mean they're going to budge? They won't budge, but they'll be soft. So for example, this person goes out with their friend, and their friend wants to, I don't know, go see a movie that, borders on haram, right? Because, it's a problematic movie, for example. I don't know, there's haram scenes in it or whatever. And so this friend of his that he wants to go out with says, no, I'm fine, let's not go. This person says, come on, one night's not going to be 1,000 nights. It's okay, you'll be fine. We'll close our eyes when the haram scenes come up. That kind of thing. His friend will keep a smile on his face, see, soft, approachable, respectful. He'll say, "Listen, I'm sorry, like, I just can't come, you know? Let's go somewhere else. Let me make it up to you by taking you to this restaurant instead. Let's go hang out in the restaurant. Let's call up some more of our friends and let's improvising, keeping a smile on the face." Yes, but at the same time, rigid, firm in the sense of, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go there with you. You see? We need to be like this. We need to be like this in our communities and amongst ourselves as well. Not we're strict and at the same time we're rough around the edges with the people too because we're strict. No, we're strict, but we're going to be soft when we're dealing with people and letting them know that I'm not interested in doing a certain thing, right? So you can't, like, there's this understanding of being mean when you do amr al-ma'ruf. No, if amr al-ma'ruf works with being nice, then do nice. Do it in a nice way. No, how dare you tell me to come to the movies with you? That's haram. I knew I should never be with you. That kind of thing. No, 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 no. You're strict. Yes, you're very strict, but at the same time, you're going to do things in a soft way when you're dealing with people, letting them know you're not interested in something. I hope that makes sense. I hope it's clear. I think it is clear. All right. So it said in the beginning, قوة fi din, but then it comes here and says after hazman fi lin, it says imanan fi yaqeen. Imanan fi yaqeen. That they have iman, that faith that we talked about before. But at the same time, this faith that they have is a 100% conviction, not something weaker than that. And this is exactly where that educational aspect comes into the picture more and more. That look, some people, they are mu'min, they are Muslim and in Shia because they were born into a Shia family. Does that mean that their Shiism is not going to count? No, it counts. It counts. If you are following the right path because you were born into the right path, then that's what Allah wanted for you, and you have to live up to it. That's fine. But there are some who will say, look, I'm not content with just being born into a Muslim family. I want to make sure that nothing is going to shake me when it comes to my beliefs. That's why if I have questions, I'm going to ask them. If there are others who challenge my beliefs, if I don't know the answer, I am going to go after the answer. Yeah. And Imam Ali, I think this is in Nahj al-Balagha as well, in the short sayings of it. He says there's a 2-word hadith by him that says, "Utlub tajid." Go after it, pursue it, you will find it. That's a very super statement right there, big super statement. Go after it, pursue it, you will find it. Imam Ali is letting us know when you're really after something, you can find it. You will figure it out. In other words, we don't have what it takes of the will and resolve to do certain things. But if we did, it would be successful. Anyway, here you have a question. If you go out there, you will find your answer if you go out there. Yeah. If you follow certain people, certain instructors, certain lecturers, certain scholars who are not just about, the emotional stuff, and it's more than that. The emotional stuff is very important, is there, it should be there. At the same time, substance has to be there too. And so if you follow them, for example, you will eventually get your answer. If you read books, you'll eventually get your answer, inshallah, and so on and so forth. So these people, they have iman, and their iman is one of yaqeen. It's a yaqeeni iman. It's an iman that has conviction mixed with it. It's intertwined with that. As a result of what? As a result of not settling for just being born into a Muslim family, but going out there and hunting for answers. And eventually, inshallah, finding those answers. Harsan fi ilm, the next thing that they have that stands out. And look, these are all connected to each other. We just had ilman, imanan fi yaqeen. Their iman is intertwined with yaqeen and conviction. Here, they have obsession with what? With knowledge and ilm. Because that is what is going to give them the upper hand over shaitan in the end. When shaitan comes to them with challenges and questions that they need answers to. So these people are always after gaining more knowledge. And that's why they say we have one mouth and two ears to listen more. You've all heard this one. To listen more and talk less. Because when you talk, you might not necessarily be gaining as much as if you were listening. And that's what you see in our scholars, brothers and sisters. Oh my God. Um, these great scholars that we have, when you read their lives and their stories and their history, it's so cool. You know why? Because they are like superstars in the realm of Islamic knowledge. And they have written so many books and so many works and so many lectures that they have and so on. But when you sit with them, it's as if they've zipped their mouth. They won't talk unless you ask them a question, of course. But other than that, it's not like they're trying to prove themselves to anybody. No, on the contrary, they're pretty quiet, and they'll listen and hear you out more than they will talk. It's so interesting. I personally experience this all the time, especially with one of my own teachers that I visit when I go back to Qom sometimes. Yeah, you talk to him, and he's just listening, nodding his head the whole time. And so my content will end, what I wanted to say will end, and I'm still looking at him, he's still just nodding his head, and I feel like I have to continue talking. So I'll start something new and I'll start talking about something else. He's just listening. I'm like, you say something. I want to benefit from you. The only time he'll say something and explain something is if you ask him. That's when he'll start. Now, are they like acting here? No, it's just something that they've developed, that they're more interested in learning than it is sharing things, Unless you want them to share it, then they'll share it. Hirsan fi ilm they have. Hirs, this word has, negative connotations to it. It's not something good usually. Obsession, yeah, to be pressed over something. But that's how they are when it comes to ilm. Yeah. One of the things that you might find exceptions made for it in our hadiths is ilm. So for example, you're never supposed to belittle yourself in front of anyone. But then you might come across some hadiths that say it's okay that you have to do some tawadu', yeah, and maybe kneel down to somebody if you want to learn from them. You want to gain some knowledge from them. So we do have these things. There is a hierarchy. There is a list of priorities that Islam will have. Gaining Islamic knowledge is one of those things Islam sometimes will make some exceptions for. Not that it will say do haram for it, but some exceptions will be there that you usually won't have. All right. So hirsan fi ilm, but ilman fi hilm. You see that word coming again here. That they have knowledge. Yes, because they're obsessed about it. They want to learn more and more. So they have knowledge. But this knowledge now is intertwined with hilm and forbearance. Brothers and sisters, when someone has lots of knowledge compared to others, they will suffer more. Who are we kidding? Like I'll say this, I'll use this example right now, and I don't like to use this example, but it's one that I can relate to right now, and I can explain, because I've experienced it myself. Is that there's this new trend and hype now. It's not a very new one. It's been there for a few years, of Islamic lectures and lecturing Islam and public Islamic speaking, you know, public speaking about Islam and so on. Well, you'll sit down and listen to certain people who come online, who are very young even sometimes, and they have good intentions, of course. But when they're speaking about Islam, you'll find 10 mistakes in what they're saying, and it can really get you upset. Yeah, the fact that there's a person up there sitting and there might be hundreds of people listening, and because I don't know, he has a good way of delivering, or maybe other things, other reasons, whatever it is, they're putting him on the pulpit in front of hundreds of people, making mistake after mistake after mistake. Yeah, just a few days ago someone sent me a video of somebody. He's a good guy, but he's speaking about certain rulings of Islam and a ton of mistakes he's making. Well, this brings about responsibility. You can be held accountable by Allah if you're telling people the wrong ahkam. Our maraja, they are very careful when they want to give a fatwa. They have a hujjah to give a fatwa, yet they're still a little hesitant. Should I not? And then you have people going out there, mashallah, one after another, mistake after mistake, Well, why are you going to do this to yourself? So me as a person who might have, studied a little bit in Qom, when I look at it, I'm like, are you kidding me? What is this? What are you saying? This is nonsense. And it like gets to me, it gets you worked up. You suffer from it. You get upset. Now, this holds for any other discipline as well. Any form of knowledge that someone might have. Yeah, it requires patience when there are other people out there who are not well versed in that expertise to speak about that expertise. Yeah, especially when it comes to, let's come back to Islamic knowledge. It really gets you, because this is the akhirah of the people that makes you upset sometimes, that they're messing up on. But at the end of the day, if you have knowledge, you have hilm that goes next to it as well. You have to work for that, work towards that. They have hilm. Yeah, their knowledge should be mixed with hilm. If they don't, there's a little bit of a problem there, maybe. And I said before, hilm means that it doesn't affect them as much, even. Not that they get angry, but they bottle it up. But um, they're also not being affected by that thing negatively. All right. علما في حلم قسطا في غنى. When they're doing good financially, they are still living moderately. We talked about moderation before as well. The way in the beginning of this sermon, the Imam said that they are moderate when it comes to how they dress. And so here it goes further than just how they dress. In times that they're doing good, they are wealthy. Ghina means to be wealthy. They have qast. They have moderation. This prevalent culture of, when you have, spend as much as you can, and when you don't have, well, you don't have to spend anyway, because you don't have what it takes. This culture is so prevalent nowadays in the material world we live in, the materialistic culture that we're in right now. For example, a guy might have been a nobody on the streets before. Not on the streets, but like he had a very, very, very humble life, right? And so what happens is, all of a sudden, he gets drafted from high school, gets drafted into the NBA and becomes a professional athlete. Before you know it, the millions and millions are coming in. All right? The millions and millions are coming in now. A person who had nothing before, all of a sudden, can afford everything. You know what they usually do, brothers and sisters? Right away, they will go and start spending as much as they can. This person who had to survive on one pair of sneakers per year now will have a whole closet full of a collection of hard to find sneakers that are, $100, $200, $500, $1,000 sometimes a pair, right? They have a sneaker collection now. Why is this happening? Why not continue to live a normal life? Yes, instead of one pair, have 5 pairs. Not 50 pairs, not 500 pairs. Why is this happening? That prevalent culture I was talking about, that if you have, you spend for yourself. No, who says? Islamic culture and Islamic lifestyle will tell you clearly that you have to have qasd. Qasd in this context means moderation. To be not too low, not too high, average. Yes? You will have to have moderation even when you're wealthy. And we learn that from the likes of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. We learn it from him and the likes of him. We learn it from the likes of other imams as well. Yes? Even other imams, they would spend well, but it was moderate at the end of the day. It's not like when you open the closet of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, you find 50 different outfits. Yeah? Not necessarily. Now, some people might have clothing businesses. Some people, their social status will dictate to have maybe 20, 30 outfits and something like that. But that might be an exception, but that's not the rule, I'm trying to say. But right now in the world we live in, what is the rule? The rule is if you have, spend. That's what money's for, to be spent on yourself. 500 pairs of shoes, no problem, 200 pairs of shoes, no problem. I don't know, $1,500, $2,500 on one purse, no problem. Once again, there might be exceptions to what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong here, but it's not the rule. It's not the rule. You know what's interesting? That these celebrities and these super millionaire people out there, superstar millionaires out there, lots of times the jewelry that they will have on is going to be fake jewelry. They say it themselves. But because they are so rich, people will see it as actual, real stuff, not the fake stuff. So that's how it sometimes is even. Anyway, it's a world we live in, brothers and sisters. It's the world we live in. Inshallah, Allah protects our children from some of these things that are, that are out there. This non-Islamic lifestyle, I would say. But for now, at the end of the day, I will say that, inshallah, try to keep within the boundaries of haram, and you should be fine. Yes, as long as it doesn't reach israf. All right, moving on. وَخُشُوعًا فِي عِبَادَةٍ, it says. When you look at their ibadah, it is when you look at their ibadah has a mix of something else in it. I like how each of these things that we have right now, that we're covering, it's the Imam is mixing one with something else. It's like when you wanna when you wanna get the right color of something, you mix two colors together. Or for example, if you want to get the right ingredients or the right recipe of something, you have to have a mixture of things. Here, the Imam keeps mixing things together. It's pretty cool. Yeah, hazman fi lin, imanan fi yaqeen, hirsan fi ilm, ilman fi hilm, and so on and so forth. Until he reaches this khushu'an fi ibadah. Khushu'an fi ibadah is one of the most important mixtures out there. Okay, one of the most important mixtures out there and combinations you have. Ibadah without khushu' isn't going to get you to that lofty destination you want to get to. Yes, ibadah without khushu' meaning like humility, and the heart has some fear and humility towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This it won't get you to the destination, that lofty destination, but it will do something for you. It will make sure that you won't end up in the hellfire, because at the end of the day, the ibadat that we have are not ibadat that the conditions, that we have for our ibadat are not going to be such that we can't fulfill them. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was going to tell us your ibadah is only accepted, and it means that you don't have to redo it, if you have khushu' with it, then we would have to redo our prayers forever, right? So it's not one of the conditions, okay? But for conditions of it being accepted in the sense of, not of us fulfilling our duty towards Allah, so we're not punished if we don't do it. But rather, khushu' is a condition for it getting you to that lofty, high goal and destination that you have. And so here the Imam, he's talking about the muttaqin, right? And we said that he's going to go a little bit, out of his way in this khutbah to give us more than just the base and foundational taqwa. And so if that's the case, of course he's going to point out that, look, their ibadah has to have khushu' in it as well. Ibadah, if it does not reach that point that we have at least some khushu' in us, it's not going to get us to the destination we need to get to. So there are some conditions for salat that we have to observe when it comes to us reaching that destination that we want to through it. Yes. Now some might say, I'll say this, but I won't say 100%. But I can say for sure that at least to an extent, Shaitan did not have khushu' in his ibadah. And that's what happened to him eventually. He ended up where he ended up, being the most cursed and wretched of all. All right, so these people now, who they have, when it comes to their wealth, they have moderation. And by the way, let me open a parenthesis here real quick. The Imam didn't dismiss ghina as something evil and bad inherently. No. What did the Imam say? The Imam said if they have ghina, then they have moderation. He didn't say ghina is something bad. Stay away from it. Be faqir. Be in poverty. No, he didn't say that. And yes, I know we have some hadiths that might say, for example, al-faqru fakhri, that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that poverty is my honor. But there are some who will dismiss these hadiths and others who will reinterpret these hadiths. Because we have other clearer hadiths that say that no, try not to ever become poor. Because when you become poor, your faith will also go out the window. Yes? We have a famous hadith, I think it's in Usul al-Kafi, where the Holy Prophet, when he took over, when he was in Medina, he did dua to Allah, Allahumma barik lana fil khubz, oh Allah, bless us in our bread. And here I guess bread symbolizes food and drink. Bless us in our bread, give us bread, give us food, bless us with that. Why? Because if you don't do that, our iman will go. Lama sallayna wa lama sumna. We won't pray, we won't fast. Yes? That's just how it is, brothers and sisters. When poverty comes, usually, lots of times, people's faith will falter. And so we have to try our best to have a halal living and livelihood. But having said all of that, tajammulan fi faqah, the Imam continues. He says these people, they might have times of faqah, which is probably the opposite, you can say, of ghina. When they are in faqah, times of financial difficulty, still they keep things nice. It's not like they are going to say certain things, do certain things that go against the more important things of life, like one's faith. No, they keep things nice until these hard times pass and blow over. This is something also to keep in mind. The Quran says about these people, يَحْسَبُهُمُ الْجَاهِلُ أَغْنِيَاءَ مِنَ التَّعَفُّفِ, that these individuals who sometimes are struggling financially, you can't tell that this person is struggling financially because they have ta'affuf, they have iffah, yeah, they have that kind of shame to show that we're struggling right now. So it's hard to identify them. This person won't come with raggedy clothes now to the center, for example, and like disheveled hair and just a mess. No, either they won't come, or if they come, they'll come and they'll at least comb their hair. They will wear, at least something decent, whatever they have. Because I've seen this as well, that there are some who will, do that. And that's not something to let people know that, look, I'm struggling right now. For example, help me. No. And I don't want to this is a touchy subject. I don't want to get into details here, right? And tell people what they're supposed to do or what they're not supposed to do. All I'm saying is that the Imam here, he's saying that, look, these people, I guess they have so much trust in Allah and rely on Allah so much that if times the going gets hard, it's not like they're going to do something crazy now, because they feel like, okay, this is now what Allah wants from me. Let me try my best to figure out what I'm supposed to do in this situation. Yeah, find a way out. And once they do that and they exhibit taqwa in a situation like this, Allah will show them the way out eventually. Yeah, they have that sabr, and we're going to get to the next wording that we have has to do with sabr. But I want to say this, that once again, I think this is Nahj al-Balagha, I'm pretty sure, or I am sure that it's in Nahj al-Balagha as well, that when Imam Ali was seeing Abu Dhar off as they were sending him in exile to Rabada, that barren land of Rabada that they sent Abu Dhar to during Uthman's time. Well, it was off limits to follow Abu Dhar to the city limits and see him off. But Imam Ali did that anyway. And so Imam Ali, he goes with Abu Dhar for an extent, and finally sees him off and returns to Medina, Imam Ali. In that time, I think that's where the Imam tells Abu Dhar this. He says, listen, If an abd, if the heavens and earth, they were to be closed down on this individual, something along those lines. If the skies and the earth are closed on somebody, but even in that situation, they don't compromise on their taqwa. They try to figure the situation out and observe their taqwa throughout it. Allah will show them a makhraj, a way out of that situation. So these muttaqin in times of hardship, they are hanging in there as much as they can and waiting for Allah to help them. That doesn't mean that they're going to just sit there. They're going to try their best to get out of it, but in a way that is mixed with taqwa. Yes. So tajammulan fi faqa. They keep it nice in times of faqa and hardship, and financially when they're struggling. All right. So now it moves on. It says sabran fi shiddah. They have sabr in those hard times. So previously we said faqa. Faqa is referring to financial hardship. We said it was the opposite of ghina. Here, any hardship, tragedies now. Like it's one thing to struggle financially. It's another thing to all of a sudden lose a loved one. Yeah, it gets really hard, and so that's the thing. They understand that that's part of life as well. What are we supposed to do? Have sabr, and as a result of sabr, Allah rewards you in a way that He doesn't reward anybody else. Bashir as-sabirin, the Quran says. Or they say one of the few places where Allah is going to reward as a result of sabr, He's going to be the one to reward Himself directly is with sabr. And so that's how they are. Sabran fi shiddah. Shiddah means harsh circumstances. Talaban fi halal. These people go out, they work hard, they break sweat, yes? And they see it as ibadah. We've had cases, not too many. There was a case that we had where the guy is saying, I'm sitting at home and I'm going to do dua, Allah's going to send my sustenance. No, you go break sweat just like everybody else. Yes, in this sense, you shouldn't look any different than even the secular materialistic ones. They're working hard, a mu'min should be working hard too. Breaking sweat, but nowadays we don't break sweat. We're inside with the AC on and in front of our laptops and keyboards and computers and so on. Usually that's the case. There are some who are doing actual work out there and actually breaking sweat. But breaking sweat is symbolic of working hard here to make a halal living. So talaban, they're after making money, but fi halal. Yes. God knows how much thawab there is in working to make a halal living to support your family. God knows. Some crazy hadiths we have, crazy in a good way, I mean, like very uplifting hadiths we have in this regard. Just one of them I'll share with you that it says al-ibadah, that the Holy Prophet ﷺ has been narrated to say, al-ibadatu sab'una juz'an afdaluha talabul halal. Ibadah has 70 different parts and examples, maybe you can say, instances. The best of them is talabul halal, to go after a halal living. Nashatan fi huda taharrujan an tama. The Imam goes on and on. And I'm going to stop it here. I want to go to the end now. You can go, the rest of the khutbah is something that people can even read the translation of and they'll get a good understanding. They'll get a good feel of what the Imam is getting at here. So the Imam goes on and on and on and on about these individuals. And it's not like me who is just, slowly explaining all these things to you. No, the Imam, when he's explaining it, he's going through it fast and they're listening. And this hammam now, this is the end of the khutbah that I wanted to share with you. This hammam, what happens is as the Imam gets, it really gets nice and the Imam reaches the climax, if you may, it says that hammam all of a sudden passed away. He got so worked up in a good way by hearing what the Imam was saying and was so excited and so eager to hear more and more. It says, فَسَعِقَ هَمَّامٌ سَعْقَةً كَانَتْ نَفْسُهُ فِيهَا. that he couldn't contain himself anymore. He screamed out and he fell and passed away. His soul couldn't remain any longer in his body. Now, I just want to explain this part of the khutbah, and then we'll end. Why is it that Amir al-Mu'mineen, shared this information? If he knew something like this was going to happen in the end, in the beginning of the khutbah, if you remember, the Imam was hesitant. He didn't want to say it. So it seems that the Imam, had guessed that this is going to be too much for him, too much because of the love that he has, and he wants to hear this stuff. There were others also sitting there. It didn't affect them. This person is living it. And so when he's hearing it and how awesome it is, it's just so magnanimous. He can't hold on to this life anymore. He wants to go, and he goes. So the question that sometimes people might ask is why? Why is it that um, the Imam said it if he knew this was going to happen? Brothers and sisters, the ilm of an Imam is an interesting topic to talk about. And so we can't get into that obviously right now. But putting that aside, let's look at the words the Imam says here in the end of his khutbah in response to someone who objected to Imam Ali after this happened and Hammam, fell and passed away. It says, this is what the Imam first says. The Imam says, فَقَالَ أَمِيرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ أَمَا وَاللَّهِ لَقَدْ كُنْتُ أَخَافُهَا عَلَيْهِ. I was afraid that this is going to happen. And then the Imam said, أَهَكَذَا تَصْنَعُ الْمَوَاعِظُ الْبَالِغَةِ بِأَهْلِهَا. This is how words of, let's say, words of guidance affect those who are ready to receive it. So now here, somebody says something rude to Imam Ali. It says, someone said, فَمَا بَالُكَ يَا أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. O Amir al-Mu'mineen, then why is it that nothing happened to you? Yes, if you are also on the path of guidance, and these are words of wisdom, these are words of guidance and light, how come it didn't affect you, but it affected somebody like him? The Imam says something to him in return, and that's where we also understand why the Imam said all these things in this khutbah when he knew it might affect Hammam. So it says, the Imam said, Wayhak, woe unto you, watch out, watch what you're saying. Inna likulli ajalin waqtan la ya'duh. Everyone has a set time in this life that they will not transgress, that they will not overstep. Everyone has a time to leave this world. وَسَبَبًا لَا يَتَجَاوَزُهُ. Something that will take their life that they won't be able to evade. In other words, this person was destined to pass away on this day as a result of this khutbah. This person was destined. And as I said, the ilm of an imam is an interesting topic. If someone believes that they have that knowledge of the unseen, if they have that knowledge of the unseen, it's not like they can go against it. As a matter of fact, they will have knowledge of it. This is my understanding. They will have knowledge of the unseen because in the knowledge of Allah, it has already taken place. And so it's not like they can go against it. Anyway, that's a long story I don't want to get into. But here the Imam says, look, this person was destined to pass away on this day as a result of hearing this khutbah. So you need to watch what you say and stop questioning God's decree. فَمَهْلًا, slow down, the Imam tells them. لَا تَعُدْ لِمِثْلِهَا, don't go back and say something like this ever again. فَإِنَّمَا نَفَثَ الشَّيْطَانُ عَلَى لِسَانِكَ. This is something shaitan put in your mouth. First of all, this guy was rude by saying something like this. Second of all, it just shows the extent of the people's knowledge and understanding back then. This is how the people were, unfortunately. And it's because of these people that Imam Ali was 25 years wasn't able to do what he needed to do as Khalifa of Muslimin. And after he became Khalifa, it's because of these types of understandings that the Imam had to go through what he went through in all those 4 or 5 years of his Khilafah, of the battles that he had to go through. And in the end was not able to get rid of those enemies of Islam that later on messed up Islam and distorted it really. All right, so that's this khutbah we got through a lot of it. As I said, the rest of it, inshallah, you can read. It's mostly things that you can read the translation of, and we'll get a good idea of what the Imam is trying to get at. The main points were in the beginning of the khutbah. We covered those in the first few sessions last week, actually, that we did. And as I said, the Imam, he describes the muttaqeen. What I would say that what the muttaqeen look like after they have continued their observance of taqwa and wajib and haram throughout their lives, they reach a point that this is what they look like. And in this month of Ramadan, the fasting that has been prescribed on us, or prescribed for us, the Quran says that we want you to reach taqwa. This is what we have in store and in mind for you through this wajib act of fasting in this holy month. And inshallah, we, through the fast in the month and through using that willpower we've gained in this month and exercising it after the month of Ramadan, when it comes to the wajib and haram, inshallah, we can reach a point like this and have a fraction of what the Imam has described in this khutbah. I would like to thank IABA and the brothers and sisters involved who made all of these lectures possible. I was actually supposed to be in IABA for the second half of Ramadan this year, and I was pretty excited about it too, because IABA is one of those places that I always feel like I'm at home. We have some good brothers and sisters there, but the qismat was that this virus takes over the whole world, and so it didn't happen. But inshallah, Allah accepts all the efforts of the brothers and sisters and accepts their amal. And inshallah, you have a wonderful one more week of the holy month of Ramadan as well, and make the most of these last days. And inshallah, pray that I also am able to do so. And with that, we will wrap it up. I thank you once again. Keep me in your du'as. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة وأشهد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي واجب يا رحيم دعوتي واقل يا غفور عثرتي فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها وهموم قد كشفتها وعثرة قد أقلتها ورحمة قد نشرتها وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها على جميع نعمه كلها الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه ولا منازع له في أمره الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه ولا شبيه له في عظمته الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره وحمده الظاهر بالكرم مجده الباسط بالجود يده الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير ما حاجة بي إليه عظيما، وغناك عنه قديم وهو عندي كثير وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي وصفحك عن ظلمي وسترك على قبيح عملي وحلمك عن كثير جرمي عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك وأريتني من قدرتك وعرفتني من إجابتك، فصرت أدعوك آمنا وأسألك مستأنسا لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك، فإن أبطأ عني عتبت بجهلي عليك، ولعل الذي يبطأ عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. فلا أمر مولا كريما أصبر على عبد لئيم منك علي. يا ربي إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك، كأن لي التطاول عليك فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك، فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك، إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله المالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح ديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمي بعد علمي، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام، الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادل ولا شبيه يشاكل ولا ظهير يعاضد، قهر بعزته العزى وتواضع لعظمته العظمى فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أنادي ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا عصي ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازي، فكم من موهبة هنية قد أعطاني وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفاني وبهجة مونقة قد عراني، فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه ولا يغلق بابه ولا يرد سائله ولا يخيب آمله. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين والصادقين ويرفع المستضعفين ويضع المستكبرين ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وعمالها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم صل على علي أمير المؤمنين وصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي. حجتك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم صل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمل والعدل المنتظر وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك استخلف في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله. مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيته له أبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وأعزز به وانصره وانتصر به وانصره نصرا عزيزا وافتح له فتحا يسيرا واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم اظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله وتذل بها النفاق وأهله وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك، وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا، وما قصرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المم به شعثنا، واشعب به صدعنا، والتق به فتقنا، وكثر به قلتنا، وعزز به ذلتنا، واغن به عائلنا، واغض به عن مغرمنا، واجبر به فقرنا، وسد به خلتنا، ويسر به عسرنا، وبيض به وجوهنا، وفك به أسرنا، وانجح به طلبتنا، وانجز به مواعيدنا، واستجب به دعوتنا، واعطنا به سؤلنا، وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا، واعطنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين. اشف به صدورنا، واذهب به غيظ قلوبنا، واهدنا به ما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك، إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق آمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فضل نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله، وغيبة ولينا، وكثرة عدونا، وقلة عددنا، وشدة الفتن بنا، وتظاهر الزمان علينا. وصل على محمد وآل محمد، وأعنا على ذلك بفتح منك تعجل، وبضر تكشف، ونصر تعز، وسلطان حق تظهر، ورحمة منك تجللناها، وعافية منك تلبسناها، برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم